Dear Emma, well, if you are reading this, I guess I did not make it home and therefore I was not able to remind you again of how much I love you. I love you so much, baby, and I will always love you. Although I may not be here right now, take comfort in the fact that I am watching over you right now. I am not gone, and I will always be with you in spirit. I know this time must be hard for you, but I also know how strong you are. Never forget that God knew what was best for us before we were even born. Take comfort in that. This happens for a reason. Although you may not believe it now, you will one day. I want you to know just how important you are to me. I could not ask for a more caring, beautiful, and loving wife. The memories that we have shared over the last few years have been the best of my life. Although it may seem like my life was cut short, I lived a life that most can only dream of. I married the perfect woman. I have a beautiful daughter that amazed me every day. I even had 2 great dogs, at least most of the time. I couldn't ask for anything more. If you feel sad, just think back to the memories that we shared. Look at our daughter and how beautiful she is. Be strong for her. Remind her about her daddy and tell her that I loved her more than anything else in the world. Her birth was the best day of my life, and she was the best thing that ever happened to me. Her smile and laughter represent all that is good and beautiful in this world. Tell her that Daddy is in heaven now and will watch over her and protect her every minute of every day. I love you, Emma, but never be afraid to do what you need to do to be happy. It is so important that you continue to find happiness in your life. Although you think this is impossible right now, have faith. Much better times are coming. You and Kylie have a wonderful life ahead of you, and I'm so happy to have shared some of it with you. I love you. Your loving husband, Todd. Dear Kylie. Dear Kylie, my sweetie. Although you may not remember me, I want you to know how very much your daddy loves you. I left for Afghanistan when you were 9 months old. Leaving you was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. You are so very special to me, sweetie. You are truly a gift from God. The best day of my life was the day you were born. Every time I saw you smile, my heart would just melt. You were my sweetie. My life was not complete until you were born. I am so sorry I will not be able to see you grow up. But remember, your daddy is not gone. I am in heaven now, smiling down on you every day. You are so very lucky to have such a wonderful mom to take care of you. Make sure you are good to her, for her, and help her out whenever you can. Always remember to say your prayers at night and be thankful for all your many blessings. Never forget how important and special you are to so many people. We love you so very much. When you get older and start school, do your best and try to learn as much as you can about the world you live in. Always be nice and caring to others, and you will discover that the world will be nice to you. But when things aren't going your way, never forget that God knows what is best for you, and everything will work out in the end. You have such a bright and beautiful future ahead of you. Have fun, enjoy it, and remember, your daddy will always be proud of you and will always love you. You are and always will be my sweetie. With very much love, your daddy. Now that was difficult to read, to say the least. But I want you to really look at what's being said here. This is a spitting image of what you rally against. This is representation of what you feel is in power, has privilege, and upholds these terrible, horrible, nightmarish values that you say is toxic and you say is part of every person that is like the same person that I just read from. This is the person that you say may be a potential rapist or a domestic violence offender. This is the person that you say devalues women every day. This is the person that is made up of the toxic masculinity that is needed to do what he did. And that same masculinity is why he is not here anymore, and why that letter and so many others have been written. This person is not here anymore because he sacrificed himself for you. Everything in these letters was referring to the betterment and welfare of the people he loved. Never once was he mentioned in these letters. Never once was his own fears brought up. Never once did he show any sort of self-interest. He had to sit there and write a letter about his own death that he knew may be very, very likely for what he was doing. For you. You will never have to know what that is like. You will never have to know that every day you go to work, that you have to tuck a letter about your own death into your pocket, into your left or right uniform pocket, because there's a good chance that someone will need to retrieve it from your corpse. You may have to worry about catcalling, the injustice of catcalling, but you will never have that worry ever in your life. You cannot comprehend what that even means. You sit in your cushy dorm room and you type and you blog about how horrible the world is for you, while the people you condemn sit in a tent, freezing from the dried sweat and grime, being agitated by the high wind and pressure of their surroundings, with constant worry of being ambushed and killed or maimed or captured and tortured. You will never know what that is, or can even comprehend what that is. When you walk down the street, you worry about somebody catcalling you. You worry about somebody saying something to you when it's inconvenient to you. When we walk down the street, we don't have that problem as much, I'll admit. But you know what problem we do have? Well, let's go back a moment. You don't make eye contact because you don't want catcalling to occur. You don't want people inconvenient to you with their voice or their interest. And you may even worry about being, people going a little too far verbally. I do agree that there is such a thing as going too far. But you know why we don't make eye contact? Because when we make eye contact, there's a good chance that the person we make eye contact with is going to grab us and smash our faces in, because we are far more likely to be assaulted while walking down the street alone. Now, a lot of us do make eye contact so that this doesn't happen, so that we appear strong, so that we appear capable, so that we appear as not such easy targets. You know who teaches us that? The people who are looking out for us. And we appreciate that. We are taught to be strong, and we are taught to not make ourselves easy targets. And we're grateful for that. However, when you are told not to make yourself an easy target, you say that the aggressors should know better, and therefore you shouldn't have to worry about not making yourself an easy target. I mean, yeah, nobody should have to worry about that, but guess what? Reality and life does not care about what people should and should not do. We seek wisdom in these teachings. You reject them wholeheartedly in lieu of what you think should happen. And then when it happens, you blame society. This masculinity that is so toxic, as you put it, is the reason you are here today. It is the reason that you are sitting behind your computer blogging about how terribly oppressive the opposite gender is. It is how you are able to make bigoted statements online and have people support you for it. It is how you are able to have your full education on these cult values funded by your parents. And letters like what I just read to you, well, those are the aftermath. That's the cost of what you have. This man, this hero, Todd, Lieutenant Todd W. Weaver, he was not an oppressor. He did not hate women. He loved women. He loved children. And that's why he's dead. The day that you have to worry about slogging through the mud, wearing 50 pounds of gear in 115-degree heat, and hear an explosion in the distance, and realize that that is coming from your comrade's position, and then have to run 2 miles without stopping in all of this gear, while taking enemy fire, while having to make sure that you're not having your flesh, bones, organs shredded by shrapnel and heavy metal flying faster than the human eye can detect, while also worrying about not becoming dehydrated and also worrying about how things are going back home all at the same time. And then getting to your objective and having to take cover behind whatever little barrier you can find. Meanwhile, not only worrying about yourself, but those around you. And then trying to get past the cover while also trying to care for somebody who has lost one of their legs, per se. And then having to worry about the encroaching threat from all around you. And the day that you can fully say that if you were in that situation that you would not care about yourself and only care about the men around you, or women around you in your case, is the day that you can tell me that you have it harder than we do. Because that is always a threat as a man. We are always on that cusp of possible war. All it takes is one little conflict to spread large enough, or to have not such a huge volunteer army. People stop joining the military. Guess what? We still need a military. Guess who's being called? Not you. That's true. You will not be called to have this action placed in your hands. The day that you have to worry about that is the day that I will say that we are equal. The day that you can be assaulted and have every single able-bodied man around you jump in and save you. The day that that doesn't happen is the day that I will say that we are equal. The day that you are being punched in the face repeatedly and screamed at while others around you laugh and say, "You go, boy." That is the day that I will say we are equal. The day that you can walk into a bar and not be told that the company is upholding a free policy where you get goods for free because of your genitals. When that's not happening, I will say we are equal. When scholarships and tuition breaks and certain grants are available to both of us in equal numbers, I will say we are equal. The day that I can walk down a street and find, or walk through my city and find any number of shelters to take me in after my girlfriend has stabbed me in the face with a screwdriver, I will say we are equal. The day that women and men either both have to be responsible parents by law or don't have to be responsible parents by law, I will say we are equal. The day that when that argument is brought up, that we are not told that men have to be the responsible ones no matter what, then I will say we are equal. The day that we can both get drunk and have sex, and only one of us, or I'm sorry, both of us, can be accused of rape or sexual assault, I will say we are equal. The day that you write a letter home saying, if you are reading this, I guess I did not make it home, and therefore I was not able to remind you again how much I love you, to your significant other and offspring. The day that you have to carry that with you every single day, because the likelihood of your demise is so much higher than at your cushy, home in the States, then I will say we are equal. See, back in the old days, there were nobility classes. What you consider equal is that of a nobility class. You want nobody to be able to look at you unless you choose. You want people to not be able to speak with you unless you choose. You want to be given all of the privileges in societies without any of the responsibilities. You still want the other class to do all of the grunt work and defend you when there are outside threats, and you also want them to do all the heavy labor, while you can sit there and not be expected to contribute in the slightest. You want to be able to decide the fate of our government, the course our government takes, without having the responsibility of possibly putting your life on the line. You want a noble class, whether you know it or not. And honestly, it may not even really be your fault, because your professors and your textbooks and those around you who have been equally indoctrinated have convinced you of this. It's like when people spend too much time at a cult, or on the grounds of a cult, that everything starts to make sense. And no matter how batshit insane the actual rhetoric is, it sounds logical, and you can't see any way that it's wrong. Every time you try to examine the facts, you find some type of rhetoric that proves it wrong in your mind, and because you have favoritism towards this ideology, you are going to take that over the facts. Creationists do it, political parties do it. Really, it's cult mentality, and it's not confined to that of religion. It's confined to that of your closest social group that meets your values, at least to an extent. And support groups and whatever else is around you that's hammering this same ideology into your mind. Look up Jonestown. Look, just humor me here. Look up Jonestown. You may not know what Jonestown is. It's not a place. It was a place. I think there might be a Jonestown out in the Midwest. I don't remember. But this was an actual group of people that they moved out of the States and named their community Jonestown. Just look at the rhetoric that was being preached, which got these people to agree. Just look at it. I think even if you're not doing it because I'm saying so, even if you're not doing it through a social justice lens, even if you're not doing it for any reasons mentioned in this video, it's still interesting. Before I even really started looking into the whole social justice thing, I thought the Jonestown tragedy was really interesting. So I read a lot about it because I'm fascinated by sick shit like that, and not in a dark emo way. More of just since what drives people to fall into such tragedy that's so far beyond the scope of anything that we would consider conventional um, murder or suicide, etc. When things are so atrocious that there's no way to really grasp it with the mind, it requires tons and tons of study to really wrap your mind around. Those things really fascinate me. It's kind of an interest of mine. But yeah, anyway, I'm getting off topic. Look up Jonestown, and you'll see. Never mind. Just go look it up. It's interesting. Anyway, this video has been going on long enough. Yeah. I don't have much more to say on this, other than, guys, I'm sorry to say this, but they have achieved nobility. Nobility is a thing. It's just not called nobility. Hopefully that changes. A lot of minds are changing, and I think we're starting to win, but it's going to be a long fight. I will probably be old and gray by the time I see any positive change that can be considered nationwide or across all of the Western world. And I want to see change also in the third world as well. I would like to see more things like feminism, but I'm kind of hesitant to advocate for full-on feminism in some places, because yes, it's needed now, just like it was needed in America then, right then and there, but any ideology is scary because they always tip for the worst. I've never heard of an ideology that has gotten better. Christianity, as fucked up and retarded as it is, and as much damage as it does, it has gotten better. It just has. I'm sorry. We're not allowed to pull people out of houses and stone them to death. So I guess in that sense, an ideology did get better. But as far as most cases, I haven't seen a lot of ideologies going up. I always see them going down in a very negative way. So even in the third world, they need something. They need like a pro-equality movement that's not just focused on women. They need to, because there are, I won't get too far into this, but there are some inequalities for men over there as well. It's just never talked about. Not nearly as many inequalities as women face in these places, but they exist. I think we need a pro-equality movement that doesn't worry about which side of the spectrum has it worse. They just need to even level the playing field and really help everybody. But if I were to relent and say that feminism is needed anywhere, it would be places like that in the third world. I don't even know how I got to this topic. Anyway, that's how I always know I've been rambling too long on a video, because I get very abstract and my mind just wanders in different places, and the video is just a mass of crap. So anyway, I'm going to end this here. I hope somebody has thought about my words other than people that just agree with me, even though I definitely like making videos for people who agree with me as well, obviously. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any subscribers, now would we? Anyway, thank you very much for listening. This has been Iconoclastrises, and you all have a beautiful night.
to sing God's praise. Then when we first begun, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but